started to build those. And I think people ought to investigate that, because you're going to have to withstand the high winds. Because if everything that's going to be coming up, we're going to have like 350 to 400 mile an hour winds. Now, this is all natural things that are going to occur before the supposed shift of the planet. Meanwhile, so all these things they coincide together with the political agenda to have it all come down so we can all blame God or somebody else for all the events that are going to occur, or follow the prophecies. One of the two.
Yet you think they're the ones who will bring it down upon us.
Exactly. Except for the extraterrestrials that I've been contacted. It says, wake up, guys. You're in a huge play. It's like William Shakespeare said, the whole world's the stage and we're just the players on this thing, which is actually correct.
It's your house that you're living in. You think you own it. You don't.
Right.
You have contractual right to transfer the airspace, subject to you paying taxes to the state.
Right.
Sounds like most of the house is still owned by the bank.
Mayday! If anybody can hear me, if anybody is still out there, you'll need to know what's heading your way. I don't know how much longer we can hold out. Prepare for the worst. Stay indoors.
All those natural disasters you see on the news reports are really natural. Ice twisters will make you think twice.
8000万人以上の日本人が犠牲になると報告されてる。このままでは国民の半数を見捨てることになります。
Stream keeps Europe warm, but there are fears it could switch off. Scientists say we might be okay though. The current near Africa seems to be shifting warmer water further north.
The new magnetic pole is gaining strength.
That looks bad. Yeah, well, that is the build-up to a spontaneous polar reversal. Fluctuations in the magnetic field are causing random surges all over town.
All right. How do we shut it down?
I don't know. I mean, we're witnessing a electromagnetic runaway. Lucas lit the match flamed by the collider and now fueled by the Earth's own magnetic field.
If we can't break the cycle, the planet will experience the same thing Lucas was trying to prevent.
A spontaneous polar reversal.
How in Jesus' name did you create a new North Pole?
Ignore the crazy man, Lucas, and just talk us through it.
I used the data from Kim to build a simulation of the forces that Nemesis would create when it passed Earth.
To measure the relative change in gravitational pull.
Right. Then I designed the electromagnetic amplifier to lock our planet's poles in place so they wouldn't reverse. But my test failed.
Well, not so much. There have been magnetic problems all over town, including what happened to Zoe at the pool.
But my amplifier isn't even on now, and it's only a scale model. It doesn't have enough juice to cause something like that.
Unless there was a boost in energy from somewhere else.
The explosion from the collider. I think that your amplifier threw off the magnetic stabilizers.
And that surge in electromagnetism fed back into the strength of the amplifier, creating a loop of building energy, and voila, a new North Pole. Don't be so sure.
What?
Come see for yourself.
But Henry, the machine isn't even on. It's on standby. It worked. I mean, it worked. What is that?
That is a new magnetic pole.
You mean like the North Pole?
It's about to be.
This is very, very bad. Easy, Fargo. That's a $10 billion piece of equipment. You break it, you buy it.
All right, that's it. Radioisotopes are in place. Ready to smash some unstable atoms together at nearly the speed of light.
You know, when he says it like that, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
Okay, kids, here we go.
Isn't this exciting? I mean, if we find dark energy, we could prove the existence of the Higgs boson, discover the nature of quark-gluon interaction, maybe even find a true unification theory.
I love when you're talking nerdy to me.
Particle velocities at 0.50 C, 0.70, 0.80.
Should we wear safety goggles? Or?
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll protect you.
0.9. real problem here is the super collider these guys are about to test. The end of the world is coming. The people have a right to know.
Nemesis is a neutron star that's been theorized to be in binary orbit with our sun.
It crosses Earth's orbit every 65 million years, causing an extinction-level event.
Like a killer asteroid.
Well, that's not even half of it. The tidal stresses from the star's gravitational pull could cause a sudden reversal of Earth's magnetic poles and unleash earthquakes, tsunamis, total global chaos.
The world could literally be turned upside down.
Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over. And the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear in the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies. This is a system, he told me, that would never protect anyone. Even back then, he talked about suitcase bombs. He talked about chemical, viral, bacterial, biological warfare.
When you're going to put together some kind of product. Well, the inside of the game, when we started using neutron bombs, today they figured that biologicals are much cheaper.
It seems that some diseases are evolving just as rapidly as we are devising weapons to combat them. And that means that there is a possibility that at some point in the future a particularly nasty infection could take hold and even turn into a worldwide pandemic that decimated populations not just in the developing world but in the developed world as well. And that would put natural selection back into the driving seat.
I think that's probably true. We don't know what that disaster is going to be, but there are all kinds of horrible things just lurking around the corner. The one which is really worrying is epidemic disease. There are so many people who travel around so much that it's certainly possible that something like the Black Death or cholera could come back.
Doesn't have to play out that way.
What are you talking about?
I found a way to change the game.
Block in cinemas May 11.
Gone. Well, because the plan is the Northern Hemisphere is where they're going to release the nuclear bombs, and the theory was that the winds from the North Pole that are coming down, because that's increasing drastically, will go to the equator, and there will be very little spillover because of the reverse of the winds, because of the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay.
So therefore, the nuclear radiation here will be a lot more than the Southern Hemisphere.
Way of doing things. It's crime.
This is that video game Reverend Lovejoy said you shouldn't play. Well, he's playing it right now.
Slay the wounded.
I still think it's too violent. It's a game. We're not hurting anybody.